With all our tasks needing our attention, we need to find a way to ensure that we keep track on what has to be done and when it needs to be done by. Well, you'll be pleased to know that ClickUp has us covered with a range of date options that we can use to complete those tasks. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name's Inwills and I'm a content creator and streamer based in the United Kingdom. And before we go any further, I would just like to say a huge thanks to ClickUp for providing me with an affiliate link for this video. So if you like what you see and would like to have a go with ClickUp, then please do consider using my affiliate link that is in the description below. In order to keep track of all those tasks and ensure that we know when tasks need to be completed by, ClickUp has a range of date functions for us to use. So first of all, you can find these date options whenever you see the little calendar icon. Clicking on it will reveal those important date options. So as soon as you open that window, you have two dates that are right the way up at the top of the window. These are start date and due date. Now, I have to admit, I do not use start dates very often, if at all actually. I don't use them. However, I use due date a lot. There is another date that I use and I will be sharing this with you at the end of this video, so do keep tuned. So in order to specify when a due or start date is, you can just click on the date within the calendar, or you can use the natural language options to the left of the window. And just so you know, you can actually type these straight into the date bar. So you can say like Monday and it will know what you're talking about. Once entered, the due date will appear at the top of the task, and if you have a calendar view for the list, then the task will also appear on the calendar on that due date. So what about tasks that are reoccurring? For example, something that you have to do daily or at the end of each week or every month. Can ClickUp deal with those? Well, of course it can. Once you've called up the date window, then at the bottom of that window there's an option to set a task to reoccur for a number of times. The little down arrow opens up the window to allow you to access more options. So the first option allows you to set how often you want the task to be repeated. For example, you can have every week or daily or twice a month. And if there's not an option there that fits your task, then you can click on the custom option, and that will allow you to be very specific. So next up, you need to decide when the task will need to be repeated. And this is more about when the new task that you are creating needs to be triggered. Now, you have various options for this. The first one is closed, and this is when the previous task the status of that task has been set to closed, and if this option is selected, then the new task will be created. For example, if I've got a task that comes up every Friday, the new Friday task will not be created until I've set the previous task to closed. Now, there is another method you can do, which is the scheduled option. Now, this allows you to create a new task every Friday, for example, but it doesn't wait until the previous task has been completed or anything. So if a task, you just need to be reminded every Friday to do this task, then I tend to use this option rather than the completed option. Next up, you have the option whether or not you want to create a new task every time it reoccurs, or just to update the original one's status to back to inbox or to do. This can be very helpful if you want to keep the content of the task, for example, the task description, the subtasks, anything else that lives within that task window. And finally, you have an option for how long you want that reoccurring task to take place. So for me, generally, I say forever. But there are some cases when I only want it to be reoccurring for a specific number of days or weeks. Let me give you an example. If I needed to post something with a certain hashtag to Twitter every day, say every day within a month, in order to enter a competition, then I would set the task to be reoccurring only for that month. And at the end of that month, the task would no longer be reoccurring. It will just stop there. And that's, oh, wait, bonus content time. Well done for keeping with this video right the way up to this point. Thank you very much. Okay, I mentioned earlier that I actually use another date field that I create as a custom date field. This is what I call a defer date. And what I mean by that is that sometimes I have a task that I don't need to think about until next year, say, or 6 months down the line. Now, this will have a due date, but I actually want to be reminded slightly before that date. So let me give you an example. I will need to, say, renew my driving license eventually. So I've set a due date when that has to be done. Okay, but of course, if I'm waiting to that point, I will run out of my license. So what I've done is also set a deferred date to the beginning of that month. So when that month eventually arrives somewhere in 2023, then the deferred date will start to appear in my calendar and on my task list, preparing me for that eventual due date. And that is definitely it. Using ClickUp definitely supports me with my content creation and allows me to complete all my tasks on time. Don't forget to support the channel in any way you can. Until next time, enjoy your content creation. See ya. Bye.